So good afternoon, sir. I am DBT Gasela. Our topic is laws on labor and employment, and I'm the one to discuss about the kinds of employment. So the kinds of employment, there are five categories, and the first is regular or permanent employment. So, in regular or permanent employment is when an employee performs activities that are usually necessary or desirable in the usual business or trade of the employer. They enjoy the benefits of security of tenure provided by the Philippines constitutions and cannot be terminated for causes of other those provided by law. And only after due process is given to them. So in this regular or permanent employment under Article 281 of the Labor Code of the Philippines, the maximizing length of provisionary employment shall be 6 months. 6 months and is counted from the date of employee started working. So that is the regular or permanent employment. So let's move on to the term of fixed employment. Is when an employment renders service for a distributed period of time, and the employment contract must be terminated after such period expressed. In third one is the project employment. Is defined when an employee is hired for a specific project or undertaking, and the employment duration is specified by the scope of work and or strength of the project. So the project employment is the project also may acquire the status of a regular employment, where they are continuously rehired after the completion of the project, or when the tasks they perform are vital, necessary, and indispensable to the usual business or trade of the employer. So the third is the seasonal employment. So is when the seasonal employment, when the work to be performed is only for a certain time of season of the year, and the employment is only for the duration. So this type is common practice to retail, F&B, hospitality, and other related industries, is as augmentation to their workplace to cover for the demand. For the demand during peak seasons, this common practice for some employees is to hire regular seasonal employees who are called to work during peak seasons or the Christmas seasons, and the temporarily suspended during off seasons. And the last one is the casual employment. So when the employee performs work that is not usually necessary or primarily wanted to the employer's business or trade. So that's all the kinds of employment that I want to discuss about it. Thank you.
The types of employment termination. There are two types of employment termination. First is the termination by employer, and next is a voluntary resignation or a termination by employee. Employers can dismiss an employee based on just and authorized causes. Just causes are based on acts attribute to employees on wrongful actions or negligence, while authorized causes refers to lawful grounds for termination which do not arise from fault or negligence of an employee. A termination by employer is according to the Article 282 of the Labor Code. An employer can terminate an employee for just causes, which could be in any of those following. First is serious misconduct or willful disobedience by the employee and the lawful orders of his employer or representative in connection with his work. Next is gross and habitual neglect by the employee on his duties. Next is fraud or willful breach by the employee of trust reposed in him by his employer or duly authorized representative. Next is a commission of crime or offense by the employee against a person of his employer or any immediate member of his family in his duly authorized representative. Causes like analogous causes. Most of the example of this reason why employees will be terminated, like abandonment, gross efficiency, and disloyal, like conflict of interest. One of the types of employment termination is voluntary resignation. A voluntary resignation is defined as a voluntary act committed by employees who knowingly dissociate themselves from their employment for personal reason. This type of termination is strengthened by the provision of Article 285, the Labor Code, which recognizes two kinds of termination of an employee can initiate without just cause and with just cause. A due process in termination of employment. A due process is a principle that indicates fairness in procedure and legal matters, with the rights and treatment of those involved being kept equal and free from prejudice. In the context of employment termination, is the right of employee to be notified of the reason for his or her dismissal, and in case of just causes, to be provided the opportunity to define himself or herself. Which means they recognize expressing the employee's right. They are recognizing the employee's right to be informed of unsatisfactory performance, or to have a chance to defend himself and improve before an adverse employment action, or such as a discharge.
Good morning, everyone. We tackle about salary on laws on labor and employment. About salary computation, it is computing. First is the computing night shift premium, where night shift is a regular work. It is ordinary day equivalent to 110 times basic hourly rate. And rest day, special day or regular holiday, 110 of regular hourly. Computing with the holidays is number of hours exists, 8 hours. The rest day, special day, number of hours is 6 hours. Ordinary day, agricultural and non-agricultural lines of work vary in every region and should be properly observed. Minimum age of employment 18 years old, but those age 15 to below to 18 can be employed given that they work in hazardous environments. In the event of bankruptcy or liquidation, workers shall be paid a full salary before other creditors may establish any claim to a share in the employee's assets. It is mandatory benefits and conditions. Companies are mandated by the labor code to give the regular employees 13-month pay equivalents to 1 month of their annual salary. Service incentive leave of at least 5 days with pay for every year of service. Employees have a right to a weekly rest period of not less than 24 consecutive hours after every 6 consecutive normal working days. Withholding a portion of an employee's monthly salary to remit of contributions to government agencies in requisite for employees. These agencies are the follows: it is Social Security System, SSS, Home Development Mutual Fund, PhilHealth, and provisions of holiday pay, paternity and maternity leave benefits. This is the mandatory benefits and contributions of the salaries of the employees.
Hello, I am Gina Dasara and I'm going to report the topic all about leaves and benefits. Leaves, these are service incentive leave, maternity leave, paternity leave, parental leave for solo parents, leave for victims of violence against women and their children, and lastly, special leave for women. So, let me first discuss what is service incentive leave. Service incentive leave, according to Article 95, every employee who has rendered at least 1 year of service is entitled to service incentive leave or SIL of 5 days with pay. This benefit applies to all employees except government employees, whether employed by the national government or any of its political subdivisions, including those employed in government-owned or Hello, I am Gina Dasara and I'm going to report the topic all about leaves and benefits. Leaves, these are service incentive leave, maternity leave, paternity leave, parental leave for solo parents, leave for victims of violence against women and their children, and lastly, special leave for women. So, let me first discuss what is service incentive leave. Service incentive leave, according to Article 95, every employee who has rendered at least 1 year of service is entitled to service incentive leave or SIL of 5 days with pay. This benefit applies to all employees except government employees, whether employed by the national government or any of its political subdivisions, including those employed in government-owned or 8282 as amended by Republic Act 11210. This benefit applies to all covered female employees regardless of civil status, employment status, and the legitimacy of her child. The maternity leave benefit shall be for 105 days with full pay and additional 15 days with full pay in case the female employee qualifies as a solo parent under Republic Act 8972 or the Solo Parents Welfare Act of 2000. In case of miscarriage of emergency termination of pregnancy, the maternity leave shall be for 60 days with full pay. In cases of live childbirth, an additional maternity leave of 30 days without pay can be availed of that the total number of days shall not be more than 7 calendar days for each covered delivery. The next one is parental leave for solo parents. According to Republic Act 8972, parental leave for solo parents is granted to any solo parent or individual who is left alone with the responsibility of parenthood due to first, giving birth as a result of rape or as used by the law, other crimes against chastity. Second is death of spouse. Third is spouse is detained or is serving sentence for a criminal conviction for at least 1 year. Fourth is physical and or mental incapacity of spouse as certified by a public medical practitioner. Separation pay depends on the reason or ground for the termination of his or her services. An employee may be terminated for just cause, example, gross and habitual neglect of duty, fraud, or commission of a crime, and other similar causes as enumerated under Article 297 or formerly Article 282 of the Labor Code, and generally may not be entitled to separation pay. On the other hand, where the termination is for authorized causes, separation pay is due. The next benefit is the retirement pay. According to Article 302, employees shall be retired upon reaching the age of 60 years or more, but not beyond 65 years old. This benefit applies to all employees except government employees, employees of retail and services and agricultural establishments or operations regularly, employing not more than 10 employees. So, the next benefit is benefits under the Employees Compensation Program. According to PD 626, the Employees Compensation Program or the ACP is a government program designed to provide a compensation package to public and private sector employees of their dependents in the event of work-related sickness, injury, disability. The next one is the PhilHealth benefits. According to Republic Act 7875, as amended by Republic Act 9241, the National Health Insurance Program or NHIP, formerly known as Medicare, is a health insurance program for SSS members and their dependents whereby the healthy subsidize the sick who may find themselves in need of financial assistance when they get hospitalized. The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth is the mandated administrator of the Medicare program or now known as NHIP under the National Health Insurance Act of 2013, Republic Act 7875 as amended by Republic Act 9241 and 10606. Social Security benefits. This is another type of benefits. According to Republic Act 1161 as amended by Republic Act 11199, the Social Security Program provides a package of benefits in the event of death, disability, sickness, maternity, old age, and employment. Basically, the Social Security System or the SSS provides for a replacement of income lost on account of the aforementioned contingencies. Pag-ibig benefits. The next one, this is the last benefit, is according to Republic Act number 9679, the Home Development Mutual Fund or HDMF, the Home Development Mutual Fund, otherwise known as Pag-ibig or Pagtutulungan sa Kinabukasan, Fiscal, Bangko, Industriya at Gobyerno. Fund is a mutual provident savings system for a private and a government employees and other earning groups supported by matching mandatory contributions of their respective employers with housing as the primary investment. So pag-ibig benefits, this is a very common benefit. We all know. So that's all. That's the end of my part. And again, thank you for listening.
So, in behalf of our topic, which is laws on labor and employment, workplace safety is concern for all employers. Let's take a look at the Occupational Safety and Health Standard Act of OSHA. To help protect employees, the Occupational Safety and Health Standard Act of OSHA of 1970 requires employer to pursue workplace safety policy. Workplace safety deals with physical protection of people from injury or illnesses while on the job. For example, they must use proper protection gear so that to avoid from getting into injuries all the time. Employers must meet all Occupational Safety and Health Administration or OSHA safety standard to maintain records of injuries and death due to workplace accident and submit to on-site inspection when notified. Willful violation of the OSHA Act that cause a death are punishable with a fine of up to 500,000 for the organization and 250,000 and up to 6 months in prison for an individual who is found culpable. Example, if those organization is not responsible or managed properly to their employees, they are culpable. Today, the HR is responsible for has a duty to comply with occupational safety standard rules and regulation that is set for by the employer. In 1970, the year that the OSHA Act was passed, job-related accident accounted for more than 14,000 workers' deaths in the United States. So the World Health Organization or WHO congratulates the Philippine government for passing the Occupational Safety and Health Standard Act or Republic Act R11058. Once implemented this significant legislation, it will help curb the increasing cases of disease and injuries in the work environment that confront the country. With the RA11058, employees are now required to comply with occupational safety and health standards, including informing workers on all types of hazards in the workplace, having the right to refuse unsafe work, as well as providing facilities and personal protective equipment for the workers, among others. So, within this law, the Philippines comes closer to achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 8.8 to protect the labor rights and promote safe and secure working environments for all workers. And also, it will boost the implementation of the WHO-supported Occupational Health and Safety Sector Plan under the National Environment Health Plan or